Welcome to the Cabral HouseCall. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor, and on the last show, I just went through whether or not dairy is a health food. I think that show, just 10 minutes long, will really surprise you and shock you about what you didn't know about eating cheese, drinking milk, and even just putting a little bit of milk in your coffee, what that can do to your body, and what, if anything, should the alternatives be. So definitely check that out. All right, let's get into today's first question. The first question is from Sarah, and Sarah is asking, what's the first thing I should do for my Hashimoto's? Okay, so great question. I see at least one person a week with Hashimoto's in my practice. And what I would say is, if you're just asking me one question, what should you do first? All right, so I'll give you a thing to do right away that you can do for a lab test. And I'll give you a thing right to do right away in your diet that will help out immediately. Okay, so the first thing is I would simply, to make sure, I would find out what's affecting you the most in your Hashimoto's. Like, how is that disease manifesting itself? And for that, I recommend the adrenal hormone test. It's going to be a cortisol times 4. So it's going to show you your cortisol levels at all 4 times throughout the day. And then it's also going to show you your DHEA. It's going to show you your testosterone. It's going to show you progesterone, all of those things. And then if you want to take it one step further, which I would, is do a complete thyroid profile. That will give you everything that I just spoke about, the DHEA, the testosterone, the progesterone, the estrogen, and the cortisol. Plus, it'll look at your TSH, your T4, your T3, your reverse T3, and your TPO, meaning like we'll look at actually antibodies. So you'll know if your Hashimoto's is in full swing or if it's actually calmed down. You can even add on iodine and selenium. You can add on some great things. It's a phenomenal lab. Just go to our store. You'll be able to see that specific lab and see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, one more thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't add this, is you might want to look at organic acid testing. If you can afford it, it is simply an amazing test to do. You'll be able to see if you have fungal overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth in your gut, as well as improper, imbalanced detoxification-based markers, mitochondrial markers for energy, and how your B vitamins, coenzyme Q10, vitamin C, biotin, N-acetylcysteine, how all of those look like in your body as well. Great test. Really, really like that one. Okay, but now what's one thing you can do starting tomorrow? Well, one thing that's been shown now over and over again is to eliminate gluten in your diet. So what does that mean? Well, it means anything that is predominantly wheat-based. There are other foods with gluten in it, but if you stay away mainly from those pastry products, the breads, all of those things that contain gluten, you're going to be a lot better off. And that's because there's been a theory that's being explored right now. There is some connection, and this looks like the main connection, is that when you digest or improperly digest gluten and you have some type of intestinal-based permeability, and these gluten-based molecules are allowed to move freely in your blood, they can cause a reaction in susceptible people at the thyroid. So a potential reaction is that the molecular structure actually looks very close to the thyroid-based structure, as well as a principle in pathology called molecular mimicry. And what that means is that your body could actually have a reaction against this gluten as it would any other foreign-based principle in your body, and because it has that reaction against gluten, it could then attack the thyroid, okay? Other people theorize that those gluten-based molecules could actually attach to the thyroid itself, and that the antibodies themselves would then attack the gluten-based molecules attached to the thyroid, causing destruction of the thyroid as well, whether primary from the actual immune system destroying the tissue of the thyroid, or secondary from an inflammatory-based reaction as it's removing the gluten-based molecules. There's many different ways to look at it. To be honest, whatever theory you feel fits best is fine, but the bottom line is if you remove gluten from your diet, you're going to be doing a lot better. Okay, Sarah, that was your one tip, so hopefully that helps you. Good place, first place to start. Kelley M is up next. Should I give my kids milk for calcium and strong bones? Okay, great question. This is going to be the question that we get the most. I get it all the time. You have to check out the last episode. It's just 10 minutes, and it's going to give you so much information on milk and dairy in general. My recommendation is that you do not give your children milk, especially not cold milk, and especially not combined with other foods, which is really just going to cause a lot of mucus and a lot of fermentation in that gut. Cold milk is not meant to be digested with meat, and certainly not with starches. It's just a terrible food combiner. We don't talk a lot about food combining in the society. It doesn't come up a lot, but I have mentioned it on previous episodes, and it is something to be concerned about because that is what can cause bacterial fermentation in your stomach and intestines. Not a good thing in terms of health. It also is correlated with excess mucus production, sinus infections in children, ear, nose, and throat-based issues. I mean, I can't tell you the number of just friends that have kids and they're giving their kids dairy 2-3 times a day, and their kids always have ear infections and they always have nasal congestions and chest congestion. And I know that it's not easy to eliminate dairy from all of their meals, but at least cut it down to a few times a week. You're not doing your kids any favors. You're really not. And I have to be firm with this. And the reason is that I'm looking out for kids, and I'm looking out for kids in my practice, in my own family, and all around me. And this is hurting children. So by giving it to them, you're only hurting their overall health, even if they really want it. Look for substitutes. At least move to a goat's cheese, which is going to be a little less reactive. And then you can look at other milk-based products if you need to give milk, and that could be an almond milk, and it could be a coconut milk, it could be a Brazil nut milk. I mean, there's a lot of ones out there. Those are actually going to have more calcium than dairy, than regular milk. So if you're doing milk just for the calcium, which I think most people are, right? I mean, why else are you doing milk? I have no idea really what else besides that. For the fat, for the protein, I don't think so. I mean, there's much better alternatives. So I'm assuming you do it for the calcium. Now, if you look at it, you could just do an unsweetened almond milk, just the vanilla unsweetened. Your kids will enjoy that, and they'll get more calcium. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it. And of course, don't forget those green veggies, which is going to have much more usable calcium in the first place. So unless you are looking at it for maybe a newborn, or you're looking at it for an infant, that's a different story. And I have given my thoughts on that in the last episode about using goat's milk or something like that as an alternative, as part of an overall formula. You're just not going to, just substitute goat's milk. You're going to add in some omegas and different things like that for healthy fats. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question, Kelley. And like I said, definitely check out the last episode. You'll get a lot more information than that. Larry is up next. Larry asks, I saw you say calcium may cause heart attacks. Should I stop my supplement? Okay, so I did allude to it before. Episode 72 was, can calcium cause heart attacks? And the answer was yes. It's a resounding yes. Study done in Europe on over 24,000 people showed that you could be twice as likely to have a heart attack, because women are taking the most calcium, by taking a calcium supplement. And the reason is because the form of calcium that people have been recommended by their doctors for decades is calcium carbonate. And calcium carbonate is the same type of calcium that comes from stone, literally limestone. Your body cannot absorb that. It's going to float around in the bloodstream. It can cause hardening of the arteries, also called atherosclerosis. And yeah, that's not a good thing. And it's why I keep saying over and over, you have to be careful about where you purchase your supplements, just like you have to be careful about where you purchase your food. I mean, or where you purchase your water. I mean, look at all around the United States and the world where people are purchasing or just assuming that their drinking water is clean. You can't assume. You really have to take full control over your health and your family's health. It's so vitally important. We're being lied to. Big business is covering up a lot of what they're doing. They're adding pollutants to the water. Right now, if you were to get your water tested, you most likely would find pharmaceutical drugs in it. You're certainly going to find aluminum in it, high levels of aluminum. There's been shown to have antidepressants in the water. You have fluoride in the water. You have all of these things that aren't meant to be consumed into your body. These are literally poisonous-based substances. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to watch out for ourselves. And so what I'm saying to you is the calcium that you're going to take, you're going to get food-based forms, and you're going to get it from some nuts. You're going to get it from dark green leafy vegetables. You can get it from like sardines. And then from your calcium form, you're going to make sure when you take calcium that you take magnesium along with it. Please do listen to that episode called Can Calcium Cause Heart Attacks? It's episode 72. Just click back into the StephenCabral.com/podcast and you'll get all the previous ones. Or if you subscribe to iTunes, of course, you can just scroll back there as well. So check that out. That will give you pretty much all the information you need about that. But absolutely, you can still take your calcium supplements. Make sure they don't come from calcium carbonate, that they come from a malate version, that they come from a glycinate version, a citrate version is okay. So that they're coming from those versions that are better for you to absorb, of course, and then they're also stabilized and balanced with magnesium. And when you do that, then you add the dilation of those arteries as well, rather than just the constriction. Hopefully that answers your question, Larry. And we are not trying to cause any, unneeded scares, but on some things you do have to be really mindful, and whatever you put into your body is simply one of those things to be mindful about. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral House Call. Before you go, I wanted to make you aware that as a loyal listener to the Cabral Concept, I want to make sure I'm always providing with great, real-world, usable content and rewarding you with listener-only specials. So for the month of April, my goal is to help you involve more of your family and friends and even coworkers in their quest to lose weight and get well. And I believe there is no better way to do that than through the Dr. Cabral Detox. You'll lose 5 to 10 pounds in your first 7 days and improve your overall well-being, guaranteed. So this month, I'm going to take $20 off the 14 or 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox so that you can share the 14-day with one friend or family member and the 21-day with 2 friends or family members. It's more motivating to do the detox with someone else, and I know you'll both be happy you did. Come join our Dr. Cabral Detox community and change your body, change your life. To take your $20 off, just enter the promo code APRIL20, all lowercase, at checkout.